So I kind of grew up with this idea that like being an Olympian was like a really realistic thing and like something I could do if I wanted to. When I was a kid, like I was like, yeah, like it wasn't like I'm gonna go to the Olympics, but it was just like, yeah, if I wanted to do this sport and like pursue it, like that's something I could do. It wasn't until I was probably like 14 or 15 that I like realized that like women's Nordic Combined like wasn't in the Olympics and like that wasn't an option.
Well, Alexa, welcome to the middle.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you because we are coming up on a really big moment for you, for your team, for your sport. So I want to talk really quick. The Milano Cortina Olympics were just this past February. I watched them. I know we have a lot of listeners that watch them. You were there as part of Team USA, but you couldn't compete. Walk me through, what did that feel like?
So I wasn't there in like a competitive fashion. I went there to support my teammates and friends that like I train alongside. So in that sense, it was really cool because I know how hard they've worked, and getting to see them achieve their dreams was really amazing, and being there for that. But of course, it is a little like bit of a sore spot not being able to compete myself, knowing how hard I've been working too.
You've been working incredibly hard. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into especially your last season. When you watch your teammates, people that you train beside every day, and they're standing on those start lines, like what was going through your head as you were watching them?
Mostly I was thinking about like, oh, I really hope they have like good jump or a good race, and like wishing they had like showed their best results and everything, rather than like, oh, I can't do it, because like there's not like so much point of thinking about that all the time and letting that like ruin an experience. Like even just going and watching the Olympics is a very exciting experience and stuff. So
Let's back up real quick because you're from Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and that's where you live currently, I know. You said I've read you grew up on skis. Do you remember the first time you ever put them on?
no, I don't. I think my parents put me on skis for the first time when I was 2, so, like,
Oh.
it it was like learning how to walk, I guess. Like, I don't really remember doing it, like, learning how to do it. I mean, I remember I didn't start ski jumping until a bit later, so I remember that part a bit more, but alpine skiing, like, it's just something I've always been able to do, I guess.
You said that you did a bunch of the ski disciplines, freestyle, moguls. What was it about Nordic Combined that stuck with you and made you say, maybe this is it for me?
I think the jumping for sure is like what originally sucked me in. It's like super unique, and yeah, like just the feeling of flying is like very fun and exciting, and also like it was never scary. Like I got a bit scared like going off jumps in like the park and doing freestyle jumps, but like ski jumping was always just fun. And also I really like the technical aspects of ski jumping, and like how when you make one little change, you can jump like 10 meters farther, and like that part is like really fun. And then the cross country part, like at the beginning was like a bit less fun, I guess, or more work.
I can see that.
But yeah, but I think like as I got a bit older, like realized how much I really enjoyed like that aspect of the sport, and like just the training for it, especially of just like going out and like running and skiing and being by myself in the woods doing that.
I want to back up real quick for listeners that don't know what Nordic Combined is, which is your sport. Can you just explain it in plain English? What does it entail?
Nordic Combined is combining two like winners like ski sports. So it's ski jumping, which is for distance, so like no tricks, and then like cross country skate skiing. And so you jump, and then the points are calculated into a time back, and then you race, and the first person that crosses the finish line wins.
And is it like one jump and one race? Are there multiple jumps, multiple races?
So like in a single competition, it's one jump, and then that counts for the one race.
I want to talk about the jumping side a little because I would be terrified, and I'm very surprised and impressed to hear that you are not, like you never were, because I think I would be petrified to do it. What does it feel like when you are in the air on a ski jump? Like, what are you thinking about when you're in there?
It's a bit hard to explain sometimes, like, it's a very unique feeling, but it's kind of like you feel, like, this wind and pressure, like, all, like, across your body and across your skis almost, like, holding you up, and, like, when you have a really good jump, you almost feel like not just that you're falling down, but that you're actually, like, sitting on the wind and flying. Of course, like, I'm mostly thinking about, like, technique things to, like, jump farther and, like, what I'm working on.
Is it this might be a really silly question. Is it quiet? Like, can you hear anything? Do you not even notice?
I guess I don't hear anything because the wind is like white noise, and also I, like, cannot really hear anything in my helmet anyway, so
That's true, that's true. It seems like a lot to I'm gonna say remember because I don't do it. Maybe it's just muscle memory for you. But it seems like so much in really a very short span of time from the minute you leave the gate to when you land and end. How do you when you practice, like, do you break that down into sections? Like, you have the jump, you have the flying, you have the landing, or is it all one just combined motion throughout all?
it is for sure a lot to think about, and a lot of it is, like, built on, like, muscle memory, so we do lots and lots of, like, imitations inside where we imitate the biggest, like or the part that is, like, the fastest and that is, like, most important is, like, the takeoff, like, the actual jumping movement.
Mhm.
So, like, that's what we imitate a lot, and you try and build that muscle memory so you don't have to be thinking about, like, every little detail while you're, like, going through it. Or, like, for me personally, I do my best to try and break it down, like, to 1 or 2, like, quite simple tasks of, like, maybe this thing in the in run and this thought in the takeoff, or this thing in the takeoff and this thought in the flight, but yeah, it can become pretty overwhelming pretty fast if you're, like, trying to think about too many things.
Well, and you said you can make a really small adjustment that can change or improve. Like, what kind of small adjustment would that be? Is it like, I'm making this up, so keep me honest. Like, is it sitting different before you get on the gate? Like, what would be an example of that?
A big one is, like, your balance point in the in run and, like, throughout the, like, curve into the takeoff, so, like, if your balance is a little bit farther back versus a little bit farther forward, like, that can make a huge difference if you're timing, obviously, like, if you jump a bit late versus a bit early, like, that also makes a difference in the effect.
Can you tell, like, in the moment if it's gonna be a good jump or not?
I, like, have the tendency to be early a lot. I will have jumps where I will, like, have started my push, which is, like, less than a millisecond, and already have am like, "Oh, like, I'm early. Like, shoot. Like,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
not gonna be a good jump." And then, obviously, like, when you get into flight, then, like, most jumps you get into flight and like, "Oh, yeah, like, I'm going far." Like, "Oh, dang it. Okay."
Crap, another one. Another time.
Yeah.
And then you have to go into cross country mode. So, what does your body feel like after you've just launched off a ramp and jumped and landed, and then now you have to go to cross country? Like, how do you do that mental transition?
Usually, I'm excited to race after jumping, like, I think one of the, like, fun things is, like, jumping is so specific, so, like, it's really you're you're almost never gonna have a perfect jump, so I feel like usually I finish the jumping and I want, like, a bit more, and, like, racing is that chance to, like, "Okay, now I get to, like, go out and put everything I have on the line," and, like, I really like that aspect of, like, "Okay, I've done something super technical, and now, like, no matter what happened, I'm gonna go put everything I have on the line and fight for, like,
Yeah.
top results," I guess.
And how long are the cross country races?
So, the women right now, we race typically a 5K and then some 7.5Ks, so that's usually, like a fast one would be, like, 12 minutes and up to, like, if the conditions are slow, harder course, more like 15, 16, I think. So it's not like running where, like, a 5K is this time. It's super dependent on, like, other factors.
Which one is harder? Is one harder mentally and is one harder physically? Or are they both equal?
Skiing is, like, a bit harder in that, like, if you're sick or you're tired or something like that, it has a huge effect. So it's, like, much
Mm.
more like a problem versus, like, jumping, like if you're a bit tired or, like, if you're sick, like, it doesn't affect your jumping a ton. Then mentally, it's, like, a very different, like, mental game for both of them. Like, one of them is being calm and dialing in the details, and the other one is, like, just how, like, willing are you to, like, go into the pain cave and, like, push yourself.
Yes. Oh, I love that. That's a good way to phrase it. Let's talk about your season because you just had an incredible season. So, congratulations, first off. When you look back at this season, what feels the most surreal to you?
Yeah, one of the craziest moments was in I we had a World Cup in Seefeld, and, like, I had had good results in Seefeld before. The last 2 years, I had, like, set personal best there, and, like, going into the weekend, like, I'd been struggling a bit with some being a bit sick and, like, just, like, my cross country shape, so I was, like, feeling a little like, "Oh, like, my season's, like, over," like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then it's a triple, so the first day is a mass start, and I, like, had a pretty good race, so I was like, "Okay, like, maybe I am, like, still in there," like, and then, like, took my jump and, like, landed my jump, saw, like, the green line, which is, like, the to beat line that they, like, show on the hill and was like, "Okay, like, I'm right there to, like, go into the lead," like, that was a good jump, and I went into the lead, and there was 2 girls left, and the next one went behind me, and then the final girl was the girl that was leading the World Cup overall and is, like, pretty much unstoppable, and she went into 3rd place, so I won, which was, like, so unbelievable because honestly, like, I don't think I realized, like, I had the potential to win a World Cup until, like, probably this season. Like, I had a podium before, like, I just never, like, truly thought that it was, like, possible for me, and then, like, to do it there, and then also my parents were there, so they came out for just that one competition in that season. So they were there for that first win. It was honestly unbelievable and, like, almost, like, storybook type stuff. It didn't feel real, like, I kept looking at the results like, "Is this right? Like, are you sure? Like, this can't be right."
And you also broke, because that wasn't your only feather in your cap for the season. You broke the US's 5-year World Cup medal drought, right? Back in December?
Yeah, I did. So that was also, like, a big surprise 'cause, like, last season, I had been 4th, that was my best result,
Mhm.
and, like, gotten, like, close, but 4th is 4th, and had, like, talked to the coaches and, like, set a goal of, like, "Okay, like, getting a podium this season is, like, the goal. Like, 1 would be great." And then first competition of the season, got 3rd place and got the podium, and that was, yeah, the first one in 5 years, and then the rest of the season was honestly, like, bonus, I guess, like, super unbelievable.
In a moment like that, and then some of the stuff we're gonna talk about in a minute, do you feel the weight of that history, like there hasn't been a US on the medal podium in 5 years, or is that not really something that you are talking about or thinking about, when you're racing?
I think I do feel, like, almost, like, a bit of extra pride in knowing that, like, the US has been a small nation in Nordic Combined. We're not, like, a dominating nation, we don't have a ton of resources, so, like, I I kind of have this feeling like every step I make is, like, proof that anyone can do it and is, like, a bit extra, "Okay, I've done this despite all these things," which, like, maybe is a bit of extra fuel and, like, it makes it, at least to me, like, mean a bit more, I guess.
Okay, I wanna talk about the Olympics, the full picture, because that's also why you're here and what we wanna shine a light on here. So, Nordic Combined, as you explained to our listeners, is the only Winter Olympic sport that has no women's competition. And it's since the very first games in 1924. So for people maybe just hearing that for the first time, how has that impacted you as you've trained? I mean, you've been on skis since you were 2. And so how has that realization that there is no women's Olympic competition for this, has it changed how you've trained? Has it ever changed any of your goals as you've come up through the championships?
So, steamboat is, like, a really like, the Olympics and Olympians are, like, huge in steamboat. which, like, growing up with that, like, I knew lots of Olympians were coaches, so I kinda grew up with this idea that, like, being an Olympian was, like, a really realistic thing and, like, something I could do if I wanted to. And so, like, when I was a kid, like, I was like, yeah, like, it wasn't like I'm gonna go to the Olympics, but it was just like, yeah, if I wanted to do this sport and, like, pursue it, like, that's something I could do. And it wasn't until I was, like, probably, like, 14 or 15 that I, like, realized that, like, women's Nordic Combined, like, wasn't in the Olympics and, like, that wasn't an option. And at that point, we were, like, making progress towards getting in, and it was like, "Yeah, we're gonna be in for 2026 and whatever," and I was like, "Yeah," like, by the time I'm, like, like 12, 14, 12, whatever, I'm like, "That's so far away." By the time I'm, like, old enough to compete in the Olympics, like, we'll be in the Olympics. This is like I don't know, it just, like, never really crossed my mind until, like, later that I, like, really started competing internationally and, like, saw that, like, oh, like, we're not in the Olympics and, like, that actually does, like, mean a lot for, like, our opportunities and, like, the funding we receive and, like, all that stuff, and it was, like, right when I was graduating high school, they announced that they weren't gonna add it, and I was like, "What now? Like, I'm about to graduate high school, like, do I even keep skiing? Like, is there a future here?" Like, that was, like, definitely a hard summer and, like, year of, like, "Oh, like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do?" And, like, feeling a bit down about, like, without the Olympics, like, there are no opportunities, but then I guess refocused and was like, "No, like, there are opportunities. We have a World Cup all season long. We still have World Championships. We really have everything except for the Olympics. And I can have a super amazing and, like, fulfilling competitive season and career competing in Nordic Mind. Even if I don't have the Olympics, of course I wanna be in the Olympics, but, like, I can still really enjoy doing the sport without the Olympics. So, like, now it's not, like and for the last couple years, it's not been something that I, like, think about as, like, a loss every day, but it is something that, like, of course, is a focus on, like, getting added to the Olympics because it is really important for the future of the sport, but not, like, I guess something that I'm, like that's dragging me down at least.
In that summer after high school when you were like, "Oh, maybe this isn't going to be something that I can do because the timelines are not just lining up." Who were you talking to about that? Were you talking to your parents? Were you talking to coaches? Were you talking to your teammates? What did that process look like?
I was definitely talking to my parents a lot. I work with the sports psych, so I was talking to my sports psych. It was actually, like, a bit lucky because that summer our, like, organization had some restructuring, and we started this collaboration with the Norwegians, so for me, I was kind of like, "Okay, like, like, going and living in Norway and, like, doing all of that, whether or not I keep skiing after a year, like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and, like, if I like, I just didn't think it was something I would regret later, but I would regret not doing it, so I decided to go for it, and I ended up really liking it and, like, kind of finding this, like, new passion for the sport and everything, so, yeah.
Would you say that the awareness of the fact that the women don't compete in the Olympics and Nordic combined, did that increase after these past games? Because I'll say that's where I heard about it. I don't know how one of the Nordic combined social posts came up on my feed, probably, I don't know, maybe right before the Olympics. And that's how I found out about all of this. Would you say, do you see that on your end? Did you feel that at the games that there was much more awareness about that than ever before?
Yeah, I would say the awareness increased, or I really hope it did, because we really put a lot of effort, like, into this year, like, our organization and everything has put a lot of effort into, like, increasing the awareness, and I feel like it's worked. But also I will say I lived in a Nordic Combined bubble, so, like, most people I know about Nordic Combined and know about the issues, so it's a little, like, maybe I'm a bit out of touch on it, but I would say the awareness increased and yeah.
The IOC, who is the one that makes the decision, I'll clarify that for the audience. The IOC has cited participation numbers and viewership reasons as why they don't include women in the Nordic Combined. But viewership for women's Nordic Combined, I did the research, was up 25% last season. And that's just for like your World Cups and all the other races and championships that you have throughout the season. Does it feel like the goalposts keep moving? That there's always a reason not to include?
Yeah, I think that is a bit or that is a bit been the feeling. So they like originally like had set these guidelines for their decision in like 2022, and and they pretty much said like have a World Cup circuit, have world championships, and we did those things. So we were like, yeah, we've done this, like we're gonna get in. So that was like a really big surprise when they didn't add us then, and then like brought in all these new like, oh, your viewership, oh, participation, number of nations, yada yada yada, and it was kind of like, wait, you just changed like the facts on us, like you didn't tell us this was what you were looking at. You said you were looking at if we had a World Cup and World Championships, which we did. Like what? So that like definitely was frustrating and surprising.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can imagine it really is, and it's a hard, especially because as the sport has grown, you have added not just, and I would say maybe not just for the benefit of competing in the Olympics, but you have just added more rigor around the sport and around how you compete and how you show up. And so to do all that, to be a legitimate sport, and because also, let's be honest, the men on the Nordic Combined team who are amazing in their own right, they're competing in the Olympics. They have the same things that you guys have, and they're allowed to go there where the women are not. So it's got to be. I can imagine it's got to be extremely frustrating to see that everyone else competing around you, but not you. The IOC, the International Olympic Committee, is going to vote in June about the sport. Can you tell our audience what they're voting on?
I mean, it's like really quite simple, but they're voting to either add the women and keep the sport of Nordic Combined in the Olympics, which it's been in the Olympics since the first one, or they're voting to remove the entire sport from the Olympics.
And that's going to be for all nations then that compete in Nordic Combined if they removed it.
Yeah, it's for everyone, like the entire sport.
Do you know why they want to? That seems so extreme. Why do you know why they want to maybe pull the whole sport?
I think that, or the main thing is the Olympics are, according to the IOC, like getting too big. So they don't want, or they want to keep them smaller, and they want like to, yeah, have like less athletes and staff and everybody there. I guess they're looking to like cut sports to keep it smaller, but I mean they keep adding sports too, which is a little weird, but
Yeah, I was like, they add sports too. I mean, how much attention does that get? Every Winter Games of these are the new sports that are here.
yeah. So, but yeah, like the main reason is like they want to keep it smaller, and I think in someone's mind, Nordic Mind looks like a easy thing to cut out, or something that's like not bringing a lot to to the Olympics. But obviously, I don't think that's true.
What has the team been doing? Yeah, I mean, you said that you guys have been doing a lot, and it hasn't been just this Olympics, but what have they been doing to raise not only awareness of the issue, but raise awareness of this vote that's happening quite soon?
We've been working with like trying to get different news articles out, working with trying to get it to as many people as possible because viewership is really important. So like getting eyes on the sport and on everybody is really important. And like the other thing that I would say we've been successful in is that the IOC said they wanted to see like more nations doing well and like smaller nations doing well, and that was like kind of what like started this Norwegian partnership is like having these bigger nations bring up some smaller nations, and I think it's worked quite well. Like getting the US on the podium is like proof that like there's more than just Norway and Germany like competing. Like there are more nations, and that is also something that IOC has been looking at. So I think like those two things, like we've done our, like we've showed the IOC, like one, people are paying attention, and two, like we can not just participate, but like be in the fight to win and like get medals and everything.
And keep me I should have probably asked this earlier. How many people are on a Nordic Combined team? What are the numbers?
The Olympics so they cut the quota size for the men for this Olympics. So after the last decision, the men were like, "We'll give up half of our quota spots for the women." So then instead of having 50 quota spots, their idea was that men would have 25 and the women would have 25.
Mhm.
But the IOC said, "Oh, like you only want 25, you can have 25." So the men only had like 2 quota spots per nation at the Olympics, but typically at a World Cup, there's 4 to 8, depending on there's a whole bunch of things on like how many athletes you're allowed to send to a World Cup, but 4 to 8 is general.
And you mentioned the partnership with Norway, but have other organizations, other teams, other individuals come out and support the team in this fight? And then if they have, like, what has that felt like?
We have had some people like come out and more people are paying attention. Like very lucky that like a lot of people and businesses and organizations in Steamboat and like Park City, which are kind of like bases, and also like Placid, have been doing a lot to like really support us and support Nordic Mind and our mission and goals and everything and trying to get into the Olympics and raise awareness. So yeah, I think it's been positive.
And keep me honest, your mom is a lawyer, and she is a big advocate for this.
Yeah, a very big advocate for this, and she like pretty much runs USA Nordic Combined now. So she like has pretty much taken a lot of this onto her shoulders and been doing everything she can to support me and my dreams, and also like all the other women and men and everybody that knows and thinks like Nordic Mind should be in the Olympics. And yeah.
What has that felt like? Because you have all this support from your teammates and from external organizations and other nations, but you also got your like, it's a family affair in a ways. Has that made it more unique or more different for you having your own family, like, right there with you? I'm sure your other teammates as well, I'm sure their families are supportive, in their own ways as well, but has that meant anything more to you to have that presence?
I will say I'm like really, really lucky. Like my mom's a lawyer, like she's like quintessential like feminist, like kills it at like everything, and that's how she raised me and my sister. And like that, like if you put your mind to something and you want something, like don't let anyone stand in your way, especially not like men on Olympic committees. So like having her like I guess like having my back in this like passion and like everything, it really means a lot. And my dad is also like super involved in everything as well. Just like yeah, it like really means a lot. It's a whole family affair, and like my sister used to do Nordic Mind as well. So um yeah,
It is a family affair. Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Will the team be at the vote? Is that even possible?
No, it's like closed or whatever. So but I think you can like live stream it or something, but yeah, well, I guess we'll just find out afterwards.
I was gonna say, like, are you gonna find out when the rest of the world finds out? Did they tell you first? Do you know?
No, I at least when the last time they made the decision, it was like I opened Instagram and that was how I found out.
Ugh, that's disheartening. If the IOC says no, no to women, or even no to the sport being in the Olympics going forward, what does that mean for the team? What does it mean for you?
This season, for sure, at least for me, and I think for most of the team and for most of the athletes competing in Nordic Mind, like the season will go on as normal. The World Cup is already set. We have world champs in Falun. Like we're all already training. So this season, for sure, like I don't think it really changes anything. Beyond that, of course, it's like a lot of things in the air. Like I think a lot of teams are like other nations are really reliant on Olympic funding. So without Olympic funding, like I think it puts a lot of people in a hard place to like keep going. For us, we really don't get any funding from the USOPC, so not doesn't really change that side of things, but, um, I think it's, like, hard, like, if, like, Austria or Germany or those people, like, don't have money to, like, hold competitions or send athletes to competitions. Once, like, some people leave, I think it will be harder and harder to, like, hold high-level competitions and get people to stay in it. I hope it's not true. I hope that even if we don't get added, we can find a way to, like, keep the sport alive, but, I mean, it's all, like, no one really knows. I think, like, it's hard.
Outside of the Olympic fight, what are your goals for this season?
Last season was, like, unbelievable, so, like, finished the season 2nd in the overall, so, like, next step is overall, like, win, but I don't know, like, of course, it's not like I'm writing it off, but I think really focused on just, like, trying to keep some more consistency and keep this level because it is a new thing, like, I've been on this upward trajectory for a couple years now and just trying to keep it consistent where I'm at and, like, that high level, it's hard to maintain, so, yeah, I guess, like, that's the goal, but you never know.
Well, when you do compete at the Olympics, and I'm going to say when, not if, what does that moment look like in your head? Have you allowed yourself to think about that?
It's a scary thought, but it was, like, this year, I feel like if I had been there, I would've had a really good shot at the Olympic or at a medal, and, like, watching, like, Ben Ogden and some of the US cross country men, like, win their medals in person at the Olympics, I was, like, starting to picture myself up there, like, "Oh my god, like, what would that feel like? Oh." So, but, like, 4 years is it will come quick, but it is also 4 years, so
Yeah. No, I get that. Alexa, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing all the information that you've shared. We are so supportive here at the middle of the fight that you guys are fighting. We are cheering you on. We're right there beside you. We're doing anything we can to raise awareness and to get this sport into the Olympics. We're going to have all the information on how to follow the Nordic Combined team. It's in our show notes for everyone listening. It's on all our socials. We are anxiously awaiting alongside with you the results of this vote. But regardless of what it is, we are cheering you on. We are cheering the rest of the team on. And I'm really glad that you took some time. And I'm so honored that you came on here today.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks for spending time with us in the middle. If today's story caught your attention, drop a subscribe, share the episode, follow us on social media, and remember, it ain't over till it's over.